You know, considering this is a rags to riches type story, you can really say our main character has the eye of the tiger. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're talking about a brand new Netflix release called The White Tiger. Before we begin, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie were. If you already saw it, if you were excited for it, if you weren't planning on seeing it, let me know so we can discuss. Also, make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my channel out there and growing the community. And if you are new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, old films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about The White Tiger. This is the epic journey of a poor Indian driver played by Adarsh Gourav, who must use his wit and cunning to break free from servitude to his rich masters and rise to the top of the heap. This is written and directed by Ramin, whose work has been mostly critically acclaimed, though the only one of his movies that I've seen is 99 Homes in 2014, which is a really solid, underrated film. And this is based on the novel of the same name, which itself has received a lot of critical acclaim, though I haven't read it. But similar to the novel, this film is an analysis on the class system, showing especially the hold that the rich have over the poor. Because here you have our main character, Bahram, who comes from this poor village, and where he's from, things have been so bad that he's not even aware of all these luxuries that we take for granted. Like, at one point, he's asked about the internet and Facebook, and he's totally clueless. But all his life, he's been told over and over again about the perks of being a good servant, taking these low-wage jobs and pledging this loyalty to whomever they work for, calling them master. And we see how deeply embedded this thought process is, with him asking for even lower wages when taking a job. He offers to sleep on the floor at one point, and he'll even just reject even the smallest hints of compassion from others, as if he's not good enough. But on the opposite end of all this, he primarily works for this one young man named Ashok, who tends to be pretty friendly towards him, as is his wife Pinky Madam, played by Priyanka Chopra. But everyone else in this rich family of his treats Balram like absolute crap. They insult him, curse him out, they'll make him massage their feet and then kick him without warning if he's doing something mildly wrong, and it's all just degrading stuff. It's similar power dynamics to what we saw in Parasite in 2019, which brilliantly also explores the class system and how broken the dynamics are between those at the top versus those at the bottom. And what this film examines is how, no matter what happens, no matter how friendly things may seem to get, that class solidarity is always going to rear its head at the end of the day. And you'll see the ways in which this family has a stranglehold on Balram, and how they attempt to manipulate him, control every move he makes, and then throw him under the bus at every turn. Though, as dismal as that sounds, to be clear, this isn't just 2 hours or so of this guy getting the mean nonstop. There's still a character arc that Balram goes through, as this is told as a rags to riches type of story, with Balram narrating how he got to where he is. And we see him at the very beginning of the movie telling this, and he's in a totally different place than where he is at the beginning of the story's main events. Now, I'm normally not a fan of narration in films, but here it works, as we do get a little background into the thought processes of some of these characters, as well as this system as a whole. And what I liked here is this very quick-natured feel to it. There will be a lot of rapid-fire cutaways, there will be a little quip thrown in there for some dark comedy, and we'll even see some hypothetical scenarios acted out. Like in one instance, Balram explains what would happen if a servant was to betray someone they worked for. And all the performances here were great. The only person I was familiar with prior to this was Priyanka Chopra, and I thought she did a fantastic job as the one who's probably the biggest moral center of this family, though I found both Adarsh Gourav and Rajkumar Rao to both do great jobs as well. I thought especially Gourav's happy-go-lucky nature as Balram made for an interesting mix of something darkly humorous yet also incredibly sympathetic, while Rao did a solid job of having this moral conflict, trying to be friendly towards Balram, but also at the mercy of his own family as well at times. I thought it was a nice trio of performances overall. What I will say though is, I don't think this hits its themes quite as well as Parasite, not in that same emotionally intense way that did, mainly because of its pacing. Because it's bloated in some areas, but then rushed in others. So there's a major incident that really gets things going here, and that's when the movie gets really good. But it doesn't kick in until about 45 minutes or so. And that's not to say that the first 45 minutes are bad by any means. It still moves at a pretty fast pace and has some fun dialogue and cool editing and lively, energetic performances, but it's still ultimately just setup. It's still an in-depth look at all the dynamics in this system, as well as the relationship between Balram and his family, as well as all these key people, and we spend a lot of time with these characters. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I do like when movies do that. But in this instance, it's at the expense of just being able to move on to the next big thing. The stakes are literally the same for a good 45 minutes or so, and I think it could have gotten to the point just a bit quicker. And what happens is, it causes the film to ultimately suffer later on. The film spends so much time fixated on certain moments, as lively as they are, that the last half hour of this movie is extremely rushed. Like, I won't spoil what happens, but whereas we spend 3/4 of the movie confined to only so many locations, in that last half hour, Balram's bouncing around to all these different places, and so much gets thrown our way in only a matter of minutes. And it's like they knew they were coming up on the 2-hour mark, and they knew they had to start wrapping things up and just started checking things off as to what they needed to do. The thing is, it doesn't make for even pacing. I think considering it took us a while to get to the first high stakes incident, the film should have cut some stuff out in that first act, got to the point quicker, and then fleshed out that last half hour or so. I still think it's a very compelling narrative, but it would have been a much more consistent film had they done that. Overall, this is a nice bright spot in January when usually we get a barrage of really bad movies. The film hits some nice themes, discussing the class system, sometimes in some darkly comic ways, and at other times in some pretty chilling ways. It definitely doesn't reach the emotional heights it could have hit, as the pacing could have been much better, but it's still an enjoyable movie. It has plenty to say, has a great energy, and enjoyable performances, so I definitely say it's worth checking out. The White Tiger gets a 7.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see The White Tiger, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you enjoy this rags to riches type of story? Do you have one that's similar, that's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.